guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guy. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can see, I have a review of the Arrtx Acrylic Marker set. Now, Arrtx sent me these quite a while ago, and I kind of got waylaid with doing other different reviews. And then I got sent another set to do them again. So I got to be honest with you, when I was first sent them, I don't normally work with acrylics or oil paints, and I know these are slightly different. They're in a marker format, but I thought to myself, I don't know what type of artwork I'm going to do to help demonstrate these markers, and I was just stumped, and I didn't know how to go forward with the review. But I eventually came up with what I considered a really good idea to demonstrate the markers and show them off for what they are, and then, you know, in that respect, review them. And so this is my review of the Arrtx acrylic marker set. Now, they come in two sets, so they've got this 32 set of kind of like ordinary colors, and then they have an 18 set of metallic colors, and I'm going to go through the both of them here because it's the same product, just different colors. So, but the first set that we're going to take a look at is this set here. Now, the only difference between both the sets that I've just shown there is the palette, really, and that's about it, and the barrel color. Other than that, everything else is the same. So what I'm telling you about these markers is going to transfer across to the others, with one or two exceptions. So when you take the box off, the lid off, sorry, you're presented with this really nice little swatch. Now, this isn't exclusive to, what I'm going to say here is not exclusive to this particular product or anything like that. When you get any art supply, whether it's pencils, markers, whatever, and they have one of these swatches in here, it's really good as a guide, but that's all it, and I'm talking about more a guide for you to sort out your product and where you're going to store them, that type of thing. In terms of using these types of swatches as a reference for the colors that's in the pens, they're not very good, and the reason why is because 9 times out of 10 they're printed, and same if they're on the back of a tin or something like that, they're etched in, whatever, and the colors that they use for printing and all the rest of it, it varies greatly from how the product actually looks on paper, and I'm going to show you that later on in this video, just show you how wildly different the colors are on this swatch to the swatch that I've created. But one of the good things is the fact that the pigment names are down here, and the numbers corresponding to that pigment name, and just the numbers, not the pigment name, but just the numbers, or the alphanumeric numbers, are printed on the barrel. So I'll show you that now. Now, a lot of people would, when you think about these types of pens, a lot of people would probably would say that they are along the same line as the Posca pens, but there are a few differences, and I'll explain that. So let's take a look at the pen itself. So as you can see, it is a double-barreled marker. For the markers in this particular set, the barrel is black, and on either end of the markers you have a brush icon to depict the side that the brush nib is on, and then on the opposite side we have the fine nib icon to depict that the bullet nib is on that side. Also, where the brush icon is, there is kind of like a clear indication of the pigment color that's in that marker as well. It's very prominent, and it sticks out really clearly when the pens are all together. Along the barrel here we have the company's name, Arrtx, and then just beside that we have acrylic marker, which is obviously what the product is. On the very end of the caps there is also a pigment identifier, just to let you know as well. Where the fine nib is, there is a very thin band depicting the pigment identifier. So there's lots of places on the marker that helps you identify what pigment you're going to be using. The barrels are round, and as a result of that, on the actual lids of the markers, there's these kind of like little wedges that are protruding out from the lid to help prevent your marker from rolling off the table. Now, on the opposite side of the barrel, we have here the alphanumeric number, which corresponds to the swatch that I just showed you, and the pigment name. Now, the reason why that is important is because when you create your own swatch, I'll show you in a second, the only thing you have to correspond which color you're using is this alphanumeric number. So it's good that they've got it on the barrel, because a lot of companies don't. But it's good that it's on here, and like it just said, it helps you make sure that you're selecting the right color that you need when you go forward. So the brush nib itself, as you can see here, is a 3.2 millimeter brush tip. It's actually really flexible. Now, the brush nib on the acrylic marker allows for a really steady flow, but it appears as well that when you apply a little bit more pressure, obviously when you're using a brush nib or something like that on a marker, you tend not to put a lot of pressure on it. You tend to use the tip of the brush nib and you know, apply the color that way. But with these acrylic markers, when you apply just a little bit more pressure, obviously the acrylic comes out a lot faster, a lot better type of thing. Gives you a much thicker coverage, which is nice. On the opposite side here we have the bullet nib, and that is a 1.9 millimeter bullet nib. Now, this is a much harder nib, but it still allows the flow of the acrylic ink really nicely. So let me show you the swatch. This is the colors that's inside the entire 32 set. Now, one of the reasons I was kind of like struggling about being able to do this is because I wasn't 100% sure what type of artwork I was going to do, but in the end I opted for doing some an image from The Simpsons. The Simpsons is quite a blocky in terms of, like, you know, colors and stuff like that. It's quite blocky. You know, the rug is just pink. There's very little variation on it, or the characters are just yellow with just. Do you know what I mean? And so for that reason, I found that was going to be the best way forward to help demonstrate these pens. As you can see here in the swatch, the colors are really bright and vibrant. Now, I completed the artwork. I originally tried to start this artwork that I was going to do on Strathmore Mixed Media Tone Tan paper. But for whatever reason, I know the reason, the markers didn't act really well on that paper. And I think because if you look at that paper quite closely, it's quite a fibrous paper. There's lots of little bits of fiber and stuff like that in it, and the actual brush tip of the acrylic pens didn't really go that well with it. So I then opted to try to do the same type of artwork on Bristol vellum paper, which was, at the time, I was moving my studio around. I couldn't find my Bristol smooth paper, which I ordinarily, I probably would have preferred doing it on. But I went and I got the Bristol vellum paper, which incidentally, that's the type of paper that this swatch is done on. Now, if you look closely at this swatch, you can see where sometimes some of the pigments are a little bit streaky. But when you come over and you apply like a second layer, it's fine, and any streakiness goes away. But like I say, you can see clearly here just how bright and vibrant these colors are. Really, really nice, and it's a decent selection as well. You know, it's a really nice selection. I'm going to show you what these colors look like on black paper as well. But before I get into that, I'm just going to show you the metallic pens, and then I'll get in and I'll show you the artwork. So as you can see, this is the metallic set. There's only 18 colors in this set, but you can see here that the pens are just white, which I prefer that color, because the pigment identifiers right at the very top here show up much better. But you know, that's just a design thing. As I said here earlier on, the pens themselves are all exactly the same in terms of like the features on it. You know, you've got the brush icon and the fine nib icon on either end of the barrel here, the company logo, everything's exactly the same. But here's where there's a big problem with these metallic pens. So inside the set you get this swatch card, and on the swatch card you have the alphanumeric numbers, okay? But nowhere else on the box or on the barrels or on the website that I can find, it doesn't tell you what the pigment name is. Now ordinarily that wouldn't be a problem, but there's no alphanumeric number on the barrels either, so you've kind of got to guess what colors are which here. Now on the bottom of the, let me just show you, on the bottom of the box it shows you like the swatch card, so it shows you the alphanumeric numbers that go aside here. But then, you know, you're still guessing, because there's a couple of pinks, a couple of blues, a couple of greens. You've just got to guess which one is which. And one of the things that I noticed about these acrylic markers is that their colors vary depending on the paper that you're using. And again, I'm going to show you that. So that's the only downside about these metallic colors, is that you've got to guess what M01 is, or M02 or M08 is, and even then there's no, you know, once you create your make-believe swatch, there's no way of referencing it again, because there's nothing on the pens. Of course you can go down the route of, like, you know, creating your own stickers or writing it on the pen, but you know, I keep saying, when you buy an art product, you shouldn't have to troll the internet to find out whether it's light fast or not. You shouldn't have to troll the internet to find out whether, you know, what the pigment names are. You shouldn't have to troll the internet. You shouldn't have to spend half an hour coming up with these little stickers that you can stick on the pens to create your, you know, the pigment. The pigment name should be on there, or at least like the alphanumeric numbers, which was on the other pens. You know, the other pens were fine, dead easy to use, dead easy to find the color that you're using whenever you're doing your artwork. So there is that. Now, the plus side of these metallic pens is they are amazing. So this is what the metallic pens look like on white paper, which you can definitely see they're metallic, and you know, they're nice and what have you. But once you put them on black, on dark paper, they completely transform. See, this is the colors on what, this is the metallic colors on white, and then look at those colors on black paper. They are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, they are really super metallic. And when you are applying them to the black paper as well, they you know, you can see straight away that they're metallic, just the way they shimmer as they come out of the barrel. Really nice. And if you know, if you're not like me, if you're a proper artist that can, you know, come up with all sorts of wonderful ideas of how to use these products, you could, I'm sure that the list is endless of the type of wonderful things that you could create with these markers. Talking about what you can create with the markers, let me show you the artwork that I did with the ordinary colored ones. Okay, so this is the artwork that I created, this Simpson one. Amelia had said to me her favorite character is Lisa, so I wanted to do a drawing with Lisa and little Maggie here in it as well. And so this is the image that I came up with. Now, when you look at this really closely, you can see a little bit of streaking, and I did do like a second coat of nearly all of the bits. Also as well, if you go and watch the speed drawing of this, you'll notice that when I do the stairs and the banister, I started those in a different color, a darker color. So it was kind of like this dark purple and then like a red. And I didn't like it, and I wanted to go back over it, which I was able to do with these acrylic markers. I could go back over the dark color with the light lilac, and as you can see here in this drawing, the lilac showed up really well in it. So going and using these acrylic markers on top of each other is absolutely fine. I'll show you a little bit of that now. But this is the artwork that I did. I will say one thing, and it was more to do with the size of the drawing that I did. If I had did it bigger, I could have used the bullet nib, but I wanted to use the bullet nib, the black pen, to do the outlining, but it was just a little bit too thick. If you look at the swatch that I've completed here, you can see on the swatch that I've done under each color, I've done like a line of the bullet nib, and it shows you the thickness of it. And it's not super thick or anything like that, but it's not. If I'd have tried to use the black marker for some of the bits on this drawing here, it just would have it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have looked well. It would have made the whole thing look a mess. So I just used an ordinary fine liner for this piece. But like I say, if it had been a bigger drawing, I probably would have been able to do it. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of these colors, just a couple of them. The metallic colors on the black paper here, and just to really show you how they like perform on this dark paper. So this is like a silvery color, and you can see straight away just how metallic these are. They're really metallic, really gorgeous. I mean, that's shining back on you there. It's almost like a mirror. Let me see if you can see it there. I've got like a pink metallic thing here, color. And like I say, the firmer you press down, it just seems to be the better the coverage it gives you. But with these brush markers, you know, you've got a lot of control with them, and they are actually a lot of fun to use. And like I say, you've got a lot of control with them. Although it flows, it's not like, you know, sometimes if you've used markers and all of a sudden you'll get this burst of ink coming out of the brush nib. It's not like that. It's like a really well controlled flow of acrylic paint coming out here. So that's the pink. I know that light's a bit bright there, but there you can see it a little bit better. So I've got the it's like a gold or bronze one, this one. I think it's gold. You can see there how bright, how metallic they are. I've think this one might be the gold. And you don't need to shake these either. You don't need to shake them, or you don't need to press down on them for the paint to come out. It just, as soon as you take the cap off, it works, which is really nice. And then this is like a bronze one, I think, or brown. You can see they're really nice, and like I say, nice coverage on them as well. There's a blue one here as well. And then there's a purple one. I mean, you can look through the swatch, but I'm just showing you how they lay down here. This is just showing you what it's like in real time. In terms of the paper that I used and how the markers work, I think on like a Bristol smooth paper. I'm going to show you that now as well. Okay, so I've just got a couple of colors here, and I've got this is a Bristol vellum paper, and then this one here is Bristol smooth. So let me show you the difference. So I'll show you this red, and I'll zoom in a little bit here. Okay, so let me just get some color down here so that the camera's got something to focus on. So this is the Bristol smooth paper, and you can see here that the coverage, it's still a little bit streaky, but the coverage is much better on this smooth paper. Because there's a film on the Bristol smooth. And then with the Bristol vellum, the color, because the Bristol vellum is like a drier paper, if you know what I mean, it still has a nice coverage, but I just think that it lays down much better on the smooth paper than it does the vellum paper. So I know you might not be able to see much of a difference there, but to my eye, whenever I'm using it, I think, and certainly the way it feels, I would much rather have done the drawing that I did on the Bristol smooth than the vellum. Now, in terms of mixing and stuff, so I've got some yellow here, and I've got like a light blue, and you can see that it does, but it starts to you can see the paper lifting off there, so it's not really a medium that you need to, or that you can mix a lot. And that might be to do with the paper as much as it is with the actual product, but it's just the brush nib tends to be really soft, and because there's such a good flow of paint, it's picking up like little bits of paper there were coming off, and it just doesn't give you a nice blend really, or mix, sorry. Although it's not beyond the realms of possibility. But then obviously you get these little bits of green picking up on your brush nib, and if that's the type of, if that's the type of effect that you would want to achieve later on down the line, great. But if not, you need to make sure that you clean that off, otherwise, I was a welder say, it would stain. But you could see there, so if I wanted to pick up a little bit of red here on the top of this, and then come over here just to do like a different effect thing, you can see there that it creates like a gradient. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of different things that clever artists will be able to do with these markers. I personally found the artwork that I did, I loved doing it. It didn't take very long either to do the actual artwork. The pens, like I said, the flow and everything from them is perfect. With some of the colors I had to do a couple of coats, other colors not so much. And like I said, you've got to use them a little bit different than you would do like an alcohol marker. Ordinarily with an alcohol marker, you can do it in circles to make sure you don't get any streaks or anything like that. But because there's so much paint that comes off these, it tends to like rip the paper a little bit. So going back to what I was saying about the swatch and making sure that you do your own swatch, if you look here at some of these colors that are on the printed version in comparison to the version I've done on the Bristol Vellum. So I can't remember which one was the wildest. Oh, that was it there. Okay, so light coffee. So if you look at this one here, let me just zoom in a little bit. So if you look at this one here, this is light coffee and it's this nice reddy brown color. But if you look at the swatch, that's light coffee there. So you can see them side by side, 103 and 103, and they are vastly different on the paper. Okay, so if you look at A99, which is the golden brown, and then you look at the A99 on the swatch, again quite different, so exclude that one. This is the A99 on the swatch, and then this is it on the printed swatch. So it's just about making sure that you create your own swatch, because then you know exactly what type of color you're going to get when you go to your artwork. Okay guys, so that's my review of the Arrtx Acrylic Marker Pens. I have to tell you, I really wasn't looking forward to doing these. And it wasn't anything really to do with the medium, other than the fact that I've never worked with acrylics. Not that these are like acrylic paints really, but I've never worked with acrylic paints. I've never worked with oil paints, and so I get a lot of companies asking me to do reviews for their acrylic paints and their oil paints, and I just turn them down all the time because I know I couldn't do the review any justice, and I certainly couldn't demonstrate the product well either. So I really wasn't looking forward to doing these, but once I got into them and once I knew that I was going to do the Simpsons drawing, I thought, and I got into it, I found myself loving these pens, really enjoying them. And they can be used on lots of different surfaces as well. So you can use them on stones or like canvas shoes or plastics, lots and lots of different surfaces that you can use them on for various different projects that you may want to do. So they're really cool in that way, very similar to the Posca pens in terms of the different surfaces that you can use them on and that type of thing. So I've got a full set of the 32 acrylic markers that I'm going to give away, and I'm also going to be throwing in the metallic paint pens as well. I love these. The only reason I'm going to be giving these away is because they'll sit here in my studio and I'll not use them, because I know I'm not very good at working with metallic paints or pencils or anything like that. So I'm going to give both these sets away. I do have a set for myself of these acrylic markers, because I do know that I will use these again. Now that I had, now that I took the time and I used them and I've done some artwork with them and really enjoyed them. So I do have a set that I'll keep for myself, but I just know I'll not use these ones. So I'm going to give these away to some lucky winner, and as with all my reviews, all you've got to do is leave a comment down below, and at the end of September, so the last day in September, I will announce the winner. And the only thing that I ask you to do is like leave a comment down below. With regards to being 18 as well, if you're under 18, please make sure that you have the permission of your parent, care, grandparent, whoever it is that takes care of you. I don't mind saying that I want all my young artists to follow me to be in with a chance of winning products as well. I don't want to exclude them, but you've got to make sure that you please follow my rules and make sure that whoever cares for you gives you permission to do so. And also as well, if they're a little bit hesitant about you entering the competition, if you would like, give them my email address, ask them to contact me just so that they can verify that this is all legitimate and above board. I will be more than happy to have a conversation with them over Skype or something like that, or just via email, reassuring whoever it is that takes care of you that it is a legitimate giveaway and that it is at no cost to yourself. So this is open to everybody around the world, and nobody has to pay for anything, shipping or anything like that. That's all stuff that's on me. And you don't have to be a subscriber, but because I know there's a lot of people stop by the channel to watch videos and then they don't necessarily subscribe. But nevertheless, they're still supporting the channel by watching the videos, and so that means a lot to me. And so you guys are included in it as well. But if you do subscribe, all it does is it helps me out, and it also helps out you guys for the next time I do a video. Means that you get a notification letting you know that a new video is out. And that's really about it, guys. I'll have more details about the markers over in the written review, and with regards to the competition, like I say, I'll have the closing date, when the winner's going to be announced, down. I'll just add it all down below in the description, and that's really about it. If you've got any questions about the markers, please let me know. And I really think that if you've not used these before, I think it'd be a great opportunity to put your name down and try them out, because I think that's one really good thing about us as artists. It's really good to try out. I know we all get into our comfort zones and we all like our own products that we like to use and what have you, but sometimes, every now and again, it's nice to just branch out a little bit, test something else, and you just never know what you're going to fall in love with from that point on. So anyway, thanks very much, guys. I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon in the next video. Bye.